So in kinematics, so far I have completed the discussion about motion in a straight line with uniform acceleration, falling bodies, and vertical projection. Of course, all the examples I have discussed so far in kinematics are the examples for motion in a straight line with uniform acceleration. Next, I am going to discuss about displacement time graphs and velocity time graphs. That means if a graph is drawn with displacement along y-axis and time along x-axis, that is called displacement time graph, shortly written as ST graph. If a graph is drawn with the velocity along y-axis and time along x-axis, then it is called a velocity time graph, or shortly we call it as VT graph. So next I would like to discuss about these graphs and some special cases in these graphs. As you might have studied in the school, that if you consider 2 points in the xy plane with Cartesian coordinates x1, y1 and x2, y2, an equal slope of the line, the slope of the line joining these 2 points is given by y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1, or mathematically we write delta y by delta x. So delta y is a difference in the y coordinates of the 2 points, and delta x is the difference in the x coordinates. So if the graph in general, any graph, whether it is velocity time graph or displacement time graph or pressure volume graph or any graph, if the slope is a constant, I mean the slope does not vary with increase in the x coordinate, then the graph will be a straight line graph. If the graph is not a straight line, then the slope of the tangent to the graph will vary from point to point. So if you consider a graph which is not a straight line, suppose if you have a curve y equal f of x represents the equation of a curve which lies in the xy plane, then slope of the tangent to the curve at a point on the curve, slope of the tangent to the curve at a point on the curve will be equal to limit delta x tending to 0 delta y by delta x, or mathematically it is written as dy by dx. So in general, if the slope is a constant for a particular graph, whether it is displacement time graph or velocity time graph or any other graph, the graph will be a straight line graph. If the slope is not constant, if the slope is varying with change in the value of x coordinate, then the graph will not be a straight line. If the graph is not a straight line, the shape of the graph depends on how slope varies with increase in the x coordinate. So if you draw a graph with the displacement along y-axis and time along x-axis, of course, at present we will confine our discussion about graphs in one-dimensional motion. That means we discuss only those examples in velocity time graphs and displacement time graphs related to one-dimensional motion. That is where the particle moves in a straight line path. So if a graph is drawn with the displacement measured from fixed point along y-axis and time along x-axis, that is called displacement time graph. So slope of this displacement time graph will be equal to, here y equal to s, in place of x you can write time, ds by dt. That means slope of the displacement time graph at a point on the graph, I mean slope of the tangent to the displacement time curve. At a point of the curve is given by ds by dt. That is rate of change of displacement. That gives you instantaneous velocity. So slope of the displacement time graph at a point on the graph gives you the instant velocity of the particle at that instant. So at present, you just concentrate on listening to my explanation. Don't try to write the running notes when I am discussing. I will be showing you the notes later. PowerPoint presentation. Now, in the case of if a graph is drawn with velocity along y-axis and time along x-axis, then it is called velocity time graph. So slope of the velocity time graph at a point on the graph is a straight line. We can write delta v by delta t. That gives you the average acceleration. If the graph is not a straight line, then the slope of the tangent to the curve is given by dy by dx. So dy by dx becomes dv by dt. Rate of change of velocity with respect to time. That gives you instantaneous acceleration. So in general, slope of the tangent to the displacement time curve at a point on the curve gives you the instantaneous velocity of the particle at that instant. And slope of the velocity time graph, I mean slope of the tangent to the Vt graph or Vt curve at a point on the graph gives you the instantaneous acceleration of the particle at that instant. So if a particle moves with uniform velocity, v is constant, then slope of the displacement time graph will also be constant. If slope is constant, the graph will be a straight line. That means when the particle moves with constant velocity, slope is of the displacement time graph is constant, then displacement time graph will be a straight line. So if the velocity of the particle is not uniform, velocity of the particle is not constant. I mean when the particle moves with the variable velocity or non-uniform velocity, then slope of the ST graph changes from instant to instant on the graph. Then the displacement time graph will not be a straight line. And in general, slope of the velocity time graph at a point on the graph gives you the instantaneous acceleration at that instant. So in one-dimensional motion, if the particle moves with uniform acceleration, then the slope of the graph will also be, I mean slope of the velocity time graph will be constant. And then if the slope is constant, does not vary with increase in the time coordinate, then the graph will be a straight line. That means if the particle moves in a straight line path with uniform acceleration, then the slope of the velocity time graph will be constant. Then the velocity time graph will be a straight line. Suppose if the particle moves in a straight line path with a non-uniform acceleration or variable acceleration, then the slope of the graph will also be variable. If the slope is not constant, if the slope is variable, the graph will not be a straight line. Therefore, if the particle moves with non-uniform acceleration, the velocity time graph will not be a straight line. So I would like to discuss some special cases related to the velocity time graphs. And one more thing you have to remember is, if you calculate the area under the velocity time graph and time axis, the area under the velocity time graph and time axis in an interval gives you the displacement of the body during that time interval. So in general, the area under the velocity time graph and time axis in interval gives you the displacement of the body in that time interval. So in general, as mathematics students study in calculus, if y equal f of x represents the equation of a curve in the xy plane, then integral y dx between two limits gives you the area under the curve and x-axis. So in the velocity time graph, we take velocity v along y-axis and time along x-axis. We have written ds by dt equal to v. So v dt can be written as ds. So integral ds gives you the displacement. So in general, area under the velocity time graph and time axis in an interval of time gives you the displacement of the body during that time interval. In the same way, the area under the speed time graph and time axis in an interval gives you the distance covered during that time interval. That means if we draw a graph with speed along y-axis and time along x-axis, then the area under the speed time graph in an interval gives you the distance covered by during that time interval. Suppose if you draw a graph with acceleration along y-axis and time along x-axis in the case of one-dimensional motion. Of course, we talk about all the graphs only for one-dimensional motion. We don't discuss the graphs for two-dimensional motion at the present level. So area under this graph, in general, if y equal f of x represents the equation of a curve in the xy plane, then the area under the curve and x-axis in interval is given by integral y dx for that interval. Here y equal to acceleration, x equal to time. So a can be written as dv by dt. So a dt can be written as dv. So integral dv in interval of time gives you the change in the velocity for the time interval. Therefore, the area under, that means if a graph is drawn with acceleration along y-axis and time along x-axis, that is called AT graph. So the area under the acceleration time graph and the time axis, the area under the acceleration time graph and time axis in interval of time gives you the change in the velocity of the body for the time interval. Next, I am going to discuss some special cases in VT graphs. Of course, there are some problems where you may not be given the graph in the problem, but still you can solve the problem more easily by making use of velocity time graph. For example, you find good number of problems based on the special case one which I am going to discuss in kinematics in different books. Suppose if you consider a body which starts from rest at one place and finally comes to rest at another place, moving along a straight line path. First, it moves with uniform acceleration for a certain interval of time. So that its velocity increases uniformly with the time up to a time interval t1. That means here t1 is a time interval for which the body moves with uniform acceleration. Let us suppose the acceleration be denoted by alpha, until the velocity reaches some value denoted by Vm. Next, it moves with uniform retardation so that the velocity decreases uniformly with time until it comes to rest. Let t2 be the time interval for which the particle moves with uniform retardation. Let n be the foot of the perpendicular dropped from the point A on x-axis. So the straight line OA represents the velocity time graph for accelerated motion. The straight line AB represents the velocity time graph for retarded motion. During retarded motion, I mean uniformly retardation. Let us suppose the retardation be beta. acceleration denoted by alpha. And Vm represents the maximum velocity during the motion. So velocity is maximum during the end of the accelerated motion, or you can say velocity is maximum at the beginning of retarded motion. So area of the triangle OAN gives the displacement covered during the accelerated motion. Area of the triangle ANB gives you the displacement covered during the retarded motion. Area of triangle OAB gives you the total displacement covered during the entire motion. Let capital T denote total time of motion. So in this graph, you can write basic formula. Area of triangle OAB is equal to half into base into height. Half into OB into AN. So the base OB gives you the total time of motion. The height AN gives you the maximum velocity. Area of triangle OAB gives the total displacement. So total displacement covered is equal to half into total time into maximum velocity. So if you are given the total time and maximum velocity, you can directly calculate total displacement without knowing the values of alpha and beta. Or if you are given S and T, you can find Vm. Sometimes you may have to find total displacement in terms of alpha, beta and total time. You can find Vm in terms of alpha, beta and total time. From the graph you can see slope of the line OA. In general, slope of the velocity time graph gives you the acceleration. So slope of the line OA gives you the acceleration during the accelerated motion for time interval t1, that is denoted by alpha. Slope of the line equal to y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1. That means y coordinate at A minus y coordinate at O divided by x coordinate at A minus x coordinate at O. Slope of the line OA gives you the acceleration alpha for accelerated motion. Y coordinate at A is equal to velocity corresponding to the maximum velocity. Y coordinate velocity at O is 0, started from rest, so initial velocity at O is 0. X coordinate A is t1. Or you can write time t1 for which it moves with constant acceleration alpha can be written as Vm by alpha. And slope of the line AB gives you the value of acceleration during the retarded motion. That is equal to y coordinate at B minus y coordinate at A by x coordinate at B minus x coordinate at A. Slope of the line AB gives you the acceleration during the retarded motion. So if beta is the retardation, the acceleration for retarded motion can be as minus beta. Y coordinate at B is 0. Y coordinate at A is Vm. Difference of x coordinates at B and A gives you time interval t2. Or you can write t2 equal to Vm by beta. It's not necessary for you to copy this whole working and the diagram which I have drawn. I will be showing the entire discussion again on the screen. In the typed notes I will be giving you. I will be showing you the typed notes or PowerPoint presentation. So those students who are interested to write the notes, they can write the notes later. I will tell you when you can start writing the notes in case you are interested to write the notes. But at present, don't try to write the notes which I am writing on the screen now. Just listen. So total time, this first equation, this we call. So total time of motion, you can write T1 plus T2. So T1 equal to Vm by alpha plus T2 equal to Vm by beta. So total time of motion can be written as Vm into 1 by alpha plus 1 by beta. From this you can find maximum velocity in terms of alpha, beta and t, which you can substitute in the first equation to find total displacement in terms of total time and alpha and beta. Problems based on this case were also given in the earlier entrance examination papers. Later I will show you some examples based on this case. Next, I am going to discuss one more special case. Suppose if you consider a vehicle which moves along a straight track of total length L, or total displacement S equal to L, in a straight path. Let us suppose the vehicle can move with a constant acceleration alpha during first part of its journey. So in order to stop at the other place, let us suppose the vehicle can move with maximum retardation equal to maximum uniform retardation beta at the last part of the motion. Let Vm denote the maximum speed which a vehicle can reach during the journey. That means speed of the vehicle cannot be more than the value Vm. Then to complete the journey in least possible time, the vehicle first, again I repeat, the vehicle first starts from rest at one place and finally comes to rest at another place. And it moves in a straight path of total length L between the two places. It can accelerate at a constant rate alpha up to a maximum speed equal to Vm. It can retard at a uniform rate equal to beta. So to complete the journey in least possible total time, the vehicle must first accelerate at this rate alpha until the velocity reaches the maximum possible value. After that, the vehicle must move with maximum speed. The vehicle has to move this maximum speed Vm, but it cannot continue to move with the maximum speed till the other place. At the other place, before reaching the other place, it has to retard at this constant rate beta to come to rest at other place. So in that case, the graph will be like this. So when the vehicle starts from rest and moves with constant acceleration alpha, the velocity time graph will be a straight line like this. The straight line OA represents the velocity time graph for accelerated motion. Let T1 with the time interval for which it moves with constant acceleration alpha. Let Vm denote the maximum speed. Next, it moves with uniform speed, Vm. Let T2 denote the time interval for which it moves with uniform speed equal to the maximum speed Vm. Finally, it moves with uniform retardation, beta, and comes to rest at other place. The body moves with uniform retardation, then also accelerates is uniform. The velocity time graph will be straight line, but the velocity decreases uniformly with time. So the straight line OA represents the velocity time graph for accelerated motion. The straight line AB represents the graph for which during which the body for the time interval T2 during which it moves with uniform speed Vm. The line BC represents the graph for uniform retarded motion. Let T3 denote the time interval for which it moves with uniform retardation beta. Let capital T denote the total time of motion. So drop a perpendicular from A on x-axis and drop another perpendicular from B on x-axis. Let N be the foot of the perpendicular dropped from A on x-axis and M is the foot of the perpendicular dropped from B on x-axis. Then area under the velocity time graph and time axis gives you the displacement covered. So area of the triangle OAN then gives you the displacement covered during accelerated motion. Area of rectangle ABNMN gives the displacement covered during the motion with uniform speed. Area of triangle BMC gives you the displacement covered during the retarded motion. Now toward the area of the trapezium. OABC gives the total displacement covered during the entire motion. As you might have studied in the school, the formula for area of trapezium is area of trapezium is equal to half into sum of the parallel sides multiplied by perpendicular distance between the parallel sides. So area of the trapezium is equal to half into sum of the parallel sides multiplied by perpendicular distance to the parallel sides. So again, I am telling you, don't try to copy the notes which I am writing on the screen now. I will show you the notes separately. Those who are interested, write the note. They can copy the notes later. I will write time for that. So area of the trapezium OABC is equal to half into sum of the parallel sides into perpendicular distance between the parallel sides. So here, the area of trapezium gives you the total displacement covered on the left hand side. The parallel sides are OC and AB. Perpendicular distance between the parallel sides is equal to AN. From the figure, you can observe AB equal to NM, that is equal to T2. OC equal to total time, capital T. And AB equal to NM, that is the time T2, for which it moves with uniform velocity. The height AN of the triangle trapezium, that means perpendicular distance by the parallel sides, gives you the maximum velocity. So half into total time into T2 into maximum speed. So you can use this equation to solve some of the problems faster, with those problems which come under this case 2. Of course, later I will show you the PowerPoint presentation where you can derive the general formula for least time required to complete the journey in terms of alpha, beta. So just as I explained in the previous case 1, here also you can write slope of the line OA equal to alpha, that is equal to Vm by T1, or T1 can be written as Vm by alpha. The same way, slope of the line BC gives you the acceleration during retarded motion, which is equal to minus beta. Similar calculation I have done in the previous case. That is equal to minus Vm by T3. So T3 can be written as Vm by beta. So total time, you can write T1 plus T2 plus T3. So now I am going to show you the PowerPoint presentation of what I have discussed so far. That means I am going to summarize the entire discussion I have done. In addition to the summary of the discussion, I am also going to show you the systematic notes for what I have discussed so far. So those students who are interested to write the notes, they can take the notes when I show you the printed form of the notes or type of notes on the screen. Look at the notes here which I am going to show for displacement time graph and velocity time graphs. So I am going to show you the summary of my discussion on the screen. The typed notes also. So those students who want to copy the notes, they can take a pause wherever I advise them to take a pause and then write the notes. And those students who don't require to write the notes, they can just listen to the summary of the discussion. The first point, the slope of the displacement time graph at a point on the graph gives instantaneous velocity of the particle at that instant. If a particle moves with uniform velocity, then its displacement time graph will be a straight line. If a particle moves with non-uniform velocity, then its displacement time graph will not be a straight line. So those students who want to write the notes or take the notes of my discussion, they can now take a pause and write down these 3 points in your regular class notes. You can take a pause and copy these 3 points. Then I am going to show you the continuation. The slope of the velocity time graph at a point on the graph gives instantaneous acceleration at that instant. The particle moves in a straight line path with constant acceleration. Then its velocity time graph will be a straight line. If a particle moves with non-uniform acceleration, its velocity time graph will not be a straight line. The shape of the graph depends on how acceleration changes with the time. So those who want to copy the notes, now again take a pause and write down these 3 points in your notes. Next, I would like to show the continuation for this. The area under the velocity time graph and the time axis in interval gives the displacement of the body during that interval. The area under the acceleration time graph and time axis in interval gives the change in the velocity of the body during that interval. The area under the speed time graph and time axis in interval gives the distance covered by the body during that interval. So those who want to copy the notes, you can take a pause now and write the notes. They can copy the 3 points I have shown on the screen now. I mean, those students who are interested to write the notes. Of course, if the students have this my classes completely installed in their own computer at home, then they may not probably require to write the notes for everything. But problems part they must try to do on paper. Next, I would like to show you the continuation for this. Special cases, case 1, which I have already discussed before. As I told you, if a body starts from rest and moves with constant acceleration for a time interval t1 until the velocity reaches some value vm. Next, it moves with uniform retardation beta until velocity becomes 0. And the graph will be like this. Consider a body which starts from rest and moves with constant acceleration alpha for some time, that is denoted by t1, and then moves with constant retardation beta until it comes to rest. Its velocity time graph is shown in the figure. So length of the n is the foot of the perpendicular dropped from the point on x-axis. So length of the line ON on x-axis gives you the time interval t1 for which it moves with acceleration alpha. Length of the line between n and b gives you the time interval t2 for which it moves with retardation beta. Length of the line OB gives you total time of motion. So those students who want to copy the notes, now they can take a pause and copy the notes. So area of triangle OAB equal half into base into height. Half is half OB into AN. The area of triangle gives you the total displacement. The base of the triangle, which I have shown previously, base OB gives you total time, and height AN of the triangle gives you the maximum speed. And area of this triangle OAB gives you the total displacement. Therefore, you can write total displacement equal half into total time into maximum velocity. Or you can write S equal half T into Vm. That is equation number 1. So those students who want to write the note, they can take a pause again and copy the notes. These 2 steps. Slope of the line OA in the earlier graph, alpha can be written as Vm by T1, or T1 can be written as Vm by alpha. So those who want to write the notes, they can take a pause and write down from here to here. so that I can show you the continuation. Next. Slope of the other line OB in the graph is minus beta, that is equal to minus Vm by T2. Or you can write T2 equal to Vm by beta. T2 is the time interval for which it moves with a uniform retardation beta. And Vm is the maximum speed during the motion or magnitude of maximum velocity. So total time of motion, in this case you can write T1 plus T2. That is Vm by alpha plus Vm by beta. Or you can write T equal to Vm into 1 by alpha plus 1 by beta. Or Vm equal alpha beta into T by alpha plus beta. You call it as equation number 2. We substitute this value of Vm from second equation into the previous equation which I have shown earlier. This equation 1, S equal to half T into Vm. So those who want to copy the notes again, they can take a pause now and write this part of the notes from here to here up to equation 2, so that I can show you the continuation of this working. Now we'll combine the equations 1 and 2. So earlier I have shown you the equation 1, S equal to half T into Vm, that is total displacement equal to half T into Vm. Then second equation we got Vm is equal to alpha beta into T by alpha plus beta. We'll combine these two. So you get S equal to half T into Vm, Vm equal to alpha beta into T by alpha plus beta. Or you can write S equal to half alpha beta into by alpha plus beta into T square. That's the conclusion for displacement. Sometimes for same case I would like to show you the displacement time graph. As I discussed, for time interval T1, for the first time interval T1, it moves with uniform acceleration starting from rest. It moves with uniform acceleration alpha starting from rest. In general, if a body starts from rest and moves with constant acceleration, then displacement cover in time t is given by S equal to half a t square. Or we can say S proportional t square. Means y proportional to x square. Y proportional to x square represents the equation of a parabola passing through origin, symmetric about y-axis. So you get a parabola like this. That means the parabola OA represent the graph, displacement time graph for accelerated motion. For retarded motion, at the end of retarded motion, velocity is 0. Slope of the displacement time graph gives you the velocity. That means slope of the tangent to the curve. I mean the slope of the tangent to displacement time curve will be 0 at the end of the retarded motion. Here T2 is the time interval for which it moves with uniform retardation beta. So if you draw a tangent to the curve at the topmost point B, you can observe that it will be parallel to x-axis. That means slope of the displacement time graph becomes 0 at the end of total time T1 plus T2. So the curve AB, which is also in the form of parabola, represents the displacement time graph for retarded motion. So those students who want to copy the notes, they can take a pause and copy the notes. If you finish copying the notes, I would like to show you the next special case 2 here. Coming to the case 2 here, consider a vehicle which moves in a straight path of total length equal to L during a journey. It can accelerate at a constant rate alpha and retard at a constant rate beta. If Vm is the maximum speed it can acquire, and the least time it can complete the journey is given by T equal to Vm by 2 into 1 by alpha plus 1 by beta plus L by V. That means I have shown you the conclusion directly first, and I will show you the proof part later. So those students who are writing the notes, they can take a pause after this equation. Now they can take a pause and copy down this conclusion here. The calculation part based on the VT graph I will be showing next. I'm showing the working for the conclusion I have directly shown earlier. This velocity time graph is as shown in the figure. The line OA represents the velocity time graph for accelerated motion. The line AB represents the velocity time graph for motion with uniform velocity. The line BC represents the velocity time graph for retarded motion. The length of the line ON equal to T1 is the time interval for which it moves with acceleration alpha. The length of the line NM gives you the time interval T2 for which it moves with uniform velocity, denoted by Vm. Vm represents the maximum velocity at the end of accelerated motion, or it is the maximum velocity at the beginning of retarded motion. T3 is the time interval during which it moves with uniform retardation beta. So those students who want to copy the notes or those who want to draw the graph in their notes, they can take a pause now and copy the notes here. So the length of the line AN gives you the maximum speed Vm shown on the graph. The length of the line BM is also equal to maximum speed. So area of triangle OAN gives you the displacement covered during the accelerated motion. Area of rectangle ABMN gives you the displacement covered during the motion with uniform speed equal to the maximum speed Vm. Area of triangle BMC gives you the displacement covered during the retarded motion. So area of the trapezium or quadrilateral OABC. Area of the quadrilateral OABC, which is a trapezium here, gives you the total displacement covered. So you must be knowing the formula for area of trapezium. Area of trapezium equal half into sum of the parallel sides into perpendicular distance between the two sides. Here the side AB is parallel to OC. So length of the line AB is same as length of the line NM equal to T2. Length of side OC equal to capital T. The perpendicular distance between the parallel sides is equal to the length of the line AN, which is equal to maximum speed Vm. So area of trapezium OAB is equal to half into sum of the parallel sides into perpendicular distance between the parallel sides. Area of trapezium OAB gives you total displacement denoted by S. Sum of the parallel sides will be capital T plus T2. This perpendicular distance between the parallel sides is Vm. You call it as equation number 1. So those students who want to write the notes, now they can take a pause and write the notes. Similar calculation, this part of calculation is similar to the calculation I have discussed in the previous case. Slope of the line OA in the trapezium is equal to acceleration alpha, that you can write Vm by T1, or T1 you can write Vm by alpha. Slope of the last line OB gives you the slope of the line BC gives you the retardation. It's not OB, it should be taken as BC here. That should be gives you the acceleration during the retarded motion. The acceleration during retarded motion is minus beta. So instead of OB, you may write BC here in this step. So T3 you can write Vm by beta. So those students who want to write the notes, they can take a pause now and copy the notes. So you can write total time of motion equal T1 equal T1 plus T2 plus T3. So T2 can be written as T minus T1 plus T3. T1 can be written as Vm by alpha. T3 can be written as Vm by beta. Therefore, T2 can be written as T minus Vm into 1 by alpha plus 1 by beta. So this value of T2, I am going to substitute in the equation number 1. So those students who want to copy the notes, again they can take a pause and copy this part of the notes now. So substituting this value of Tt from first equation, in the first equation I have written earlier S equal to half T plus T2 into whole multiplied by Vm. Now I have substituted T2 equal T minus Vm into 1 by alpha plus 1 by beta. So you get 2s by Vm equal to 2t minus Vm into 1 by alpha plus 1 by beta. So from this you get the value of 2t here equal to Vm into 1 by alpha plus 1 by beta plus 2s by Vm equal to t. So those students who want to write the notes, again they can take a pause and copy the notes. So t equal to Vm by 2 into 1 by alpha plus 1 by beta plus L by Vm. That means here in the previous step I have taken S equal to L. That is the total length of the path. Dividing this equation with the 2. You get T, that is minimum time in which the body can complete the journey, is equal to Vm by 2 into 1 by alpha plus 1 by beta plus L by Vm. The same conclusion I have directly shown in the beginning. Now I have shown you the calculation part. So in my next class, I am going to discuss one more case, and then I will show you some problems based on velocity time graphs.